Picture this. You are in the middle of a grocery store, or maybe you're just trying to finish a single important email, when suddenly it starts. The tugging on your shirt, high-pitched calling of your name, the immediate, localized atmospheric pressure of a child who wants a snack, a toy, or your undivided attention exactly 1 second ago. Most parents in the West react in one of two ways. We either drop everything and give in immediately just to stop the noise, or we find ourselves losing our cool, snapping at the child to just wait a minute. But in Japan, there is a legendary, almost invisible communication tactic that changes everything. It is a specific 5-second pause embedded into the daily rhythm of life that doesn't just stop the whining. It actually rewires a child's brain for long-term emotional regulation and deep patience. This isn't a complex disciplinary system or a chore chart. It is a biological reset button that anyone can use. Today we are breaking down the Japanese 5-second trick, the neuroscience of the prefrontal delay, and how you can stop the cycle of instant gratification to raise a child who can handle the word wait with total calm. To understand why this works, we first have to look at what is happening inside your child's head during a tantrum or a bout of impatience. A child's brain is essentially an unfinished construction site. The downstairs brain, or the limbic system, is fully functional from birth. This is the part that handles big emotions, immediate desires, and the I want it now impulse. The upstairs brain, the prefrontal cortex, is responsible for logic, impulse control, and patience. Here is the problem. The staircase between the downstairs and upstairs brain is incredibly thin in young children. When they want something, the signal from the downstairs brain is so loud and fast that it completely bypasses the logic center. Most parenting mistakes happen because we try to reason with a child whose upstairs brain is currently offline. The Japanese approach focuses on building that staircase, and they do it through a concept called ma. Ma represents the space between things. It is the silence between notes in music. It is the empty space in a room that gives it shape. In parenting, May is a purposeful 5-second gap introduced into every single interaction where a child makes a request. Here is how the trick works in practice. When your child comes to you and asks for a glass of juice or a specific toy, most of us either say yes, here it is, immediately, or we say, no, not now. Both of these responses provide immediate feedback to the limbic system. The Japanese method involves a physical and verbal holding zone. When the child asks, you first make direct, soft eye contact. You don't say anything for exactly 5 seconds. You don't look angry, and you aren't ignoring them. You are simply present and still. During those 5 seconds, you are forcing the child's brain to sit with the discomfort of an unanswered desire. After those 5 seconds, you respond with a calm, gentle acknowledgement. This tiny gap acts like a weightlifting session for the prefrontal cortex. You are teaching the brain to survive a few seconds without instant feedback. And over time, that 5-second gap becomes the foundation for lifelong patience. Now, why 5 seconds? Why not 10 or 30? 5 seconds is the Goldilocks zone of neuroplasticity for a child. It is long enough for the child to notice the delay, but short enough that they don't spiral into a full meltdown of feeling ignored. If you wait too long, you trigger the stress response, which floods the brain with cortisol and shuts down learning. But if you provide that 5-second buffer, you are inviting the child to move from reactive mode to reflective mode. You are essentially creating a manual override for their impulses. In Japan, this is deeply tied to the philosophy of shitsuke. It really means training or polishing. Imagine a rough stone being smoothed out by the steady, rhythmic dripping of water. One drop does nothing, but 10,000 drops create a masterpiece. Every time you implement the 5-second trick, you are adding 1 drop of polishing to your child's character. This isn't about being mean or strict. In fact, the Japanese way of parenting, called amane, is incredibly nurturing. They believe that a child needs to feel totally secure in their parents' love to have the strength to learn patience. This eye contact first 5-second delay method is the perfect blend of high nurture and high structure. But we have to talk about the digital sabotage happening in our homes. We live in a world of instant streaming, instant microwave popcorn, instant messaging. This environment is atrophying our children's patience muscles. Every time we hand a toddler a tablet to keep them quiet at a restaurant, we are essentially telling their brain, you never have to feel bored, and you never have to wait. The Japanese method is a direct antidote to this. It involves reintroducing boredom as a beneficial state. They have a cultural practice called ganbaru, which means to persist or tough it out. They teach children that the struggle of waiting is actually where the pride of the result comes from. Let's look at the physical health connection to patience. You might not think that what your child eats affects how long they can wait for a turn at the slide, but the blood sugar roller coaster is the enemy of the prefrontal cortex. If a child is constantly eating high-sugar, highly processed kids' snacks, their glucose levels are spiking and crashing all day. When the brain is low on glucose during a crash, it physically cannot access the upstairs brain functions. The limbic system takes over because it is more energy efficient. In Japan, the focus on shoku-iku or food education emphasizes stable, complex carbohydrates, like brown rice and high-protein, fermented foods. This provides a steady stream of energy to the brain. A child who has stable blood sugar has the biological budget to be patient. If you are trying to teach the 5-second trick but your child is on a sugar high, you are fighting a losing battle against biology. Patience is a high-cost cognitive function, and you have to fuel it correctly. Another secret of the Japanese way is environmental minimalist. If you walk into a typical American playroom, it is often a chaotic explosion of bright colors, loud battery-operated toys, and hundreds of tiny pieces. This is neuro overload. When a child is surrounded by too many choices and too much stimulation, their internal regulator becomes overwhelmed. They become frantic and impatient because they are constantly being pulled in a dozen different directions. The Japanese Zen approach to play involves fewer, higher-quality, open-ended toys made of natural materials like wood or fabric. By reducing the visual noise, you are calming the nervous system. When the nervous system is calm, the threshold for impatience goes up. This is why the 5-second trick works so well in these environments. The gap of silence doesn't feel like a clash with the environment. It feels like an extension of it. Now, let's talk about the power of the mirror. Children are the world's most sophisticated vibration sensors. They don't just listen to your words. They download your emotional state. If you are constantly hurrying, checking your watch, and sighing with frustration when you're stuck in traffic, you are modeling impatience. You are telling their brain that waiting is a crisis. The Japanese method emphasizes omawari, or empathy-based awareness. It starts with the parent. When you practice the 5-second trick, it forces you to be patient too. It forces you to stop the hurry sickness that defines modern parenting. When your child sees you standing there, calm and present, during those 5 seconds, they are mirroring your nervous system through a process called co-regulation. Your calm brain actually quiets their agitated brain. You are the anchor they use to find their own stillness. Let's dive into the ritualization of waiting. In Japan, many daily activities are turned into waiting ceremonies. Think of a traditional tea ceremony. It is all about the process, not just the drinking. Even in daily life, Japanese parents use sequential language. They don't just say, "Wait a minute. First, I am going to put this dish in the sink. Then I am going to dry my hands. And then I will help you." This step-by-step narration provides the child with a mental map of the future. Impatience often comes from uncertainty. A child feels like wait means never. By narrating the sequence, you are giving them points of progress to look at. Combined with the 5-second trick, this turns the void of waiting into a structured path. The brain stops panicking because it can see the end of the wait. There is also the social integration factor. In Japan, the cultural focus is on the group, not just the individual. From a very young age, children are taught that their desires have an impact on the people around them. This is coached through perspective taking. Instead of saying, "Don't scream," a Japanese parent might say, "If you scream like that, the neighbors will be very surprised and worried." This external focus helps build patience because the child starts to realize that the world does not revolve entirely around their immediate needs. They start to develop social inhibitory control. They wait because they understand that waiting is an act of kindness toward the community. It shifts the motivation from "I have to wait because Dad told me to" "I am waiting because it's how we live together harmoniously." More permanent form of patience. But how do you start this tomorrow? You don't need a trip to Kyoto. You just need to change your reaction pattern. Step 1. The eye connection. Next time they ask for something, Don't answer from across the room. Walk to them or wait for them to come to you and get down on their level. Step 2. The 5-second count. In your head, count to 5 slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep your face neutral but warm. Don't check your phone. Just be there. Step 3. The low volume response. Respond in a voice that is slightly quieter than their request. This forces them to listen and further cools down the limbic fire. Step 4. The micro errand. Occasionally, after the 5 seconds, give them a tiny task to do while they wait. I will get that for you. Can you go and find your shoes while I finish this? This uses active waiting. When you add this all up, you are performing a biological intervention. Every single day, you are moving away from management and into mentorship. Most parents are managers. They are just trying to get through the day without a disaster. But the Japanese method turns you into a craftsman of the human soul. You are polishing that prefrontal cortex until it can shine even in the most stressful situations. Think about the long-term ROI of patience. A child who can wait 5 seconds at age 3 is a child who can wait to finish their homework at age 10. It is a teenager who can wait for the right moment to make a decision. It is an adult who doesn't spiral into road rage or impulsive financial decisions. Research, like the famous marshmallow test, consistently shows that delayed gratification is the single greatest predictor of health, wealth, and success. By using a 5-second trick, you are handing your child the keys to the kingdom. Let's address the struggle of the parent. We are tired. We are overworked. We just want the whining to stop. The easy path is to just hand over the tablet or the cookie. But the easy path today leads to the hard path tomorrow. If you don't teach them now, you will be dealing with a limbic monster for the next 15 years. The hard path today, the path of the 5-second pause, leads to the easy path tomorrow. It is an investment of time that pays for itself with a peaceful home. One of the most interesting things about the Japanese way is how they handle failure. If the child fails to be patient and has a meltdown, the parent doesn't usually resort to shouting or timeouts. They use reminders of connection. Your heart seems very noisy right now. Let's sit together until it's quiet. They see the lack of patience not as a defiance, but as a structural weakness that needs more nurturing. This no-stress correction is vital. If you attach fear or anger to the act of waiting, the child will always associate waiting with negative emotion. But if you keep the waiting zone calm and connected, they learn that peace can be found even when we don't get what we want immediately. It breaks the link between unmet desire and suffering. Consider the acoustic quality of your home. In many modern houses, the volume is always at a 10. Loud music, shouting from room to room, the TV is a constant backdrop. This high-decibel environment keeps the brain in a state of high alert. It is very hard to be patient when your startle reflex is constantly being triggered. The Japanese emphasize a low-volume culture. They use soft voices and encourage internal listening. By lowering the volume in your home, you are lowering the static in your child's brain. This makes those 5 seconds of silence much more natural. It turns the home into a sanctuary rather than a station. In a sanctuary, patience is the default in a station. Everyone is in a rush. We also have to look at the outdoors effect. In Japan, Shinrin-yoku or forest bathing is a national health practice, even for children. Nature operates on a slow clock. A flower doesn't bloom faster because you want it to. A tree doesn't grow in a day. By spending time in nature, children are calibrated to the natural pace of life. When a child is only exposed to digital speed, they expect life to have a refresh rate of a millisecond. Nature teaches them the reality of time. When you pair outdoor time with the 5-second trick, you are giving them both internal and external lessons in patience. You are showing them that the most beautiful things in the world, like a blooming flower or a sunset, require the ma of time. How do you handle the public tantrum? This is where the 5-second trick is most difficult but most important. When people are staring, we feel the pressure to fix the problem instantly. But if you break the ritual in public, you are telling the child's brain that social pressure can be used to bypass the rules of patience. The Japanese way is to ignore the audience and focus entirely on the bond. They call this kojo shin, the desire to keep improving. You stay calm, you do your 5-second count, and you maintain your soft eye contact. By doing this, you are showing your child that your safety and your ritual are more powerful than the opinions of strangers. This actually makes the child feel safer in public, because they know the constants of their life don't change just because you are at the mall. Let's talk about the sleep connection. An impatience epidemic is often a sleep deprivation epidemic. Their upstairs brain is the first thing to lose power. It's like a laptop that goes into hibernation mode to save battery. If your child hasn't had 11 to 12 hours of high-quality sleep, their patience battery is at 0%. The Japanese early-to-bed culture ensures that the brain is fully charged every single day. They realize that you can't teach a tired brain. You can't polish a brain that is fraying at the edges. Protecting the sleep window is the logistical foundation that makes the behavioral trick possible. If you want the 5-second gap to work, you have to ensure the architecture of the day is built on a full night's rest. Think about the art of calligraphy or shodo. It is a common practice in Japan to teach children the basics of brush and ink. Why? Because you cannot hurry a brushstroke. If you move too fast, the ink splatters. If you press too hard, the paper rips. This is physicalized patience. You can do this at home with slow-motion play. Have a contest to see who can move across the room the slowest. Have a contest to see who can draw a line that takes 30 seconds to complete. These games of slowness show the child that control is a form of power. Impatience is a loss of control. Patience is mastery. By gamifying the you turn a chore into a superpower. What about the power of gratitude? In Japan, they don't just wait. They appreciate. Before a meal they say itadakimasu. I gratefully receive. This tiny ritual frames the hunger as a prelude to joy. It turns the agony of waiting into the anticipation of a gift. You can use this with the 5-second trick. After the 5 seconds, when you give the child what they asked for, you can say, "Thank you for being so calm while I finished." This positive reinforcement ties the patience to social reward. You are not just rewarding the request. You are rewarding the that happened before the request was fulfilled. You are paying the brain in dopamine for its effort in staying cool. In our modern optimization culture, we are always looking for shortcuts. The shortcut is the long way. The Japanese 5-second trick is a short act with a long vision. It is about understanding that you are not just raising a child. You are incubating a future adult. Do you want that adult to be someone who snaps when things go wrong? Breathe. And find the in the chaos. That adult is created in the tiny interactions of today. It is created in the supermarket aisle, in the living room, and at the dinner table. It is created in those 5 seconds of eye contact and silence. Let's get practical about phase 1 of this implementation. Start at a time when things are already calm. Don't try to use the 5-second trick for the first time in the middle of a nuclear-level meltdown. Introduce it during normal requests. Can I have a cracker? Can you read this book? Use these low-stakes moments to prime the neural pathways. You'll notice that for the first few days the child might get confused. They might ask again louder. Just stay the course. Stay zen. Maintain the eye contact. By day 3 they will recognize the pattern. They will start to wait for the response rather than pushing for it. This is the click moment. This is when the staircase between the brains has been fortified. What about the sibling dynamic? If you have multiple children, impatience is often a competition for resources. They feel they have to shout the loudest to be heard. Use the 5-second rule as a universal household law. I only respond to the person who can wait for my eyes to find yours. This standardizes the environment. It removes the incentive for shouting. In Japan, the social harmony of the family is paramount. By making the 5-second trick a shared experience, the siblings actually start to enforce it for each other. They will say, "Wait for Dad to count to 5. Then he'll help." They become co-polishers of each other's character. Let's dive into the vagal tone science. When you practice this calm, eyes-level pause, you are actually toning the child's vagus nerve. This is the main nerve of the parasympathetic nervous system. A strong vagal tone means the body can recover from stress faster. It's like having a better suspension system on a car. Impatience is a sympathetic fight or flight response. By introducing you are triggering the parasympathetic rest and digest response. You are literally exercising their calmness reflex. This has massive implications for their immune system, their heart health, and their lifespan. You are processing them into a more resilient biological state. One of the most powerful things about the Japanese way is that it is sustainable. It doesn't require gimmicks. It doesn't require bribes. It only requires presence. And in a world that is time-poor, presence is the most valuable gift you can give. Most parenting books give you software updates. What to say, how to punish, what to buy. But the 5-second trick is a hardware update. You are changing the physical connections of the brain. You are building a better engine that will run for 70 years. Imagine your home in 6 months. The tantalum of constant interruption has faded. There is a quiet confidence in how your children move through the day. When they need something, they come to you, they look you in the eye, and they hold the space. They have learned that communication is an exchange, not an assault. This is the beauty of the Japanese way. It is quiet power. It is effortless discipline. And it all starts with those 5 seconds. 5 seconds where you choose to be still. 5 seconds where you choose to be the anchor. 5 seconds where you choose to polish the diamond that is your child's soul. As we wrap up this exploration of Japanese patience, I want you to take a deep breath. Parenting is hard. It is the most demanding work on the planet. But it is also a craft. And today you've added a master tool to your kit. The 5-second trick isn't a trick on the child. It's a gift to the child. It is the gift of impulse control. It is the gift of emotional freedom. It is the gift of stability. You are not just stopping a whine. You are architecting a future. So tonight, when the first request comes, when the tugging starts, when the name-calling begins, don't rush, don't shout, don't sigh. Just turn, find their eyes, and start your slow count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Welcome to the May, welcome to the Japanese way. Welcome to a home that is built on patience and nurture. You've got the knowledge, you've got the neuroscience, and you've got the cultural wisdom. Now, all that's left is the practice. Stay calm, stay curious, and stay 5 seconds ahead of the impulse. Your child is ready to be polished. Your home is ready to be a sanctuary, and you are the master craftsman who can make it happen. The future of patience is in your hands and in your eyes. Let the count begin. Safe travels on this parenting journey, and may your home always have enough ma to keep the limbic fires at bay. See you on the calm side of the threshold.